So in this video, I would like to demonstrate how can we create a virtual machine under the Microsoft Azure platform, and also how can we promote a server to a domain controller. Once we log into the Microsoft Azure portal, we click virtual machine link on the left-hand side navigation bar, and then we click add to create a new virtual machine. In this page, we need to provide some information. So under the project details, we make sure the subscription still set as a free trial, and we give a resource group. We can select from the existing one, or we also can create a new. So instance details, the virtual machine's name, in this case, I gave the ESM server 01. Region, we just need to make sure it's inside of UK, so either UK South or UK West. We leave the availability option as default. The image, make sure is Windows Server 2019 data center. And now we click the change size to make a selection based on our situation. So in this case, we take B2S, which is a 2 virtual processor, 4 GB RAM option, and then we take select. The username, you need to give your own username and the password. This password compatibility policy is applied, so we need to make our password complex. Inbound port rule that's allowed us to remote access to the server. So because the Windows operating system, then we just need to enable the RDP, which is 3389. We can change it later, so if you didn't select the correct settings, don't be worried. I will explain to you how can we do that later. So once you satisfy all the information, we click Review plus Create. And then we just review that again, including the price of the virtual machine, and then click Create. So now you will see the message, your deployment is underway. So just wait for a while. So after a while, your deployment is complete. From this page, we click Go to Resource, go to the main page of this virtual machine. So from here, we can see a couple of informations. For example, we got the public IP address and the private IP address. So from here, the first thing we need to do is to give, because this virtual machine is connected to a virtual network provided by the Microsoft Azure, and the DHCP service is enabled on this virtual network. So we need to set the static IP for this particular server. So to do that, we click the networking on the left-hand side navigation bar, and then click the network interface on the top. From here, we got the IP configurations, and then connect, as we can see here, the private IP with the dynamic. So we just click that and change the dynamic to the static, and then click the save on the top. So now we actually create a static IP address for this particular server on this virtual network. But we have to set up the static IP inside of the server operating system as well. So I will show you how to do that later. So now let's come back to the main page of the virtual server by click the Go to Resource again, and then we click the Connect on the top. So on the left hand side, there is an open window tell us we're going to use RDP to access, and the public IP address and 3389. Also, the RDP file is provided. We can click that to download. Once it downloads, we click the RDP file to run. So once we run the RDP file, it asks we to provide the password. But from here, we need to click the More choice and select the user different account. Username, that will be the user name we provided during the creation, and the password. And here, the RDP session notice us is probably not secure because the certificate is not provided, so we ignore that, click yes. And now, as we can connect to our remote server. So once we logged in, the server manager dashboard is opened by default. So now I would like to show you how can we promote this server as to a domain controller. So if you still remember, the first thing we need to do is set the static IP to this particular server. So we go to the network settings and change adapter options. Here we need to make a note. Because we have to change the IP address to exactly match the existing IP settings. So, for example, the IP address 10.0.0.9 and default gateway is 10.0.0.1. So, we click Properties IPv4, change the static IP. DNS can be different, so in this case, we just use Google's DNS 8.8.8.8 instead. Please note here, because we're using the RDP connection, so once we click the OK, the connection will disconnect, we will be kicked out because we changed the IP settings. So what we need to do is, we close the RDP session and run it again. So because we're using the exactly same details before, so we should be able to reconnect. So from here, if we go back to the server manager dashboard, we click add roles and features, we click next, role-based or feature-based installation, and make sure this server is selected, and then click next. Because we want to promote this server to the domain controller, so one service, which is the Active Directory Domain Service, is required. So we tick that, and the system will automatically add some extra features, and then click next, next, next again. And there is a ticket box, restart destination server automatically if required. You can leave this as a blank, or if you wish, can tick it. Doesn't really matter. Now, make sure that all the settings are correct. We click install. So once the installation finished, we can see configuration required, installation succeed on the server. So we can click the close. On the top of the dashboard, there is a warning message to ask us to promote this server to a domain controller. If we click that, we got the deployment configuration wizard here because we want to add a new voice. So we select add a new voice option, and the root domain name. In this case, we put esm01.local. Click next. Here we got several options. select the functional level of the new voice and the root domain. We just keep as the Windows Server 2016. And this server need to be a DNS server as well, and also the domain controller has to be a global catalog server. So only thing we need to do in this page is provide the domain password, domain admin password, and then click next. There is some warning message here. We can ignore that for now, and we will be able to fix that later. So click next. NetBIOS domain name, we keep that as default. Just give a second and click next. This here is to ask you the location for the local database file. We keep everything as default and then click next. Give a quick review for the selections. Click next. And the system is verifying. Once this verification process is finished, we will be able to click the install to promote this server to a domain controller. So that takes a while to do. So once the process is finished, the RDP session system will tell you you are about to be signed out, and then the the server is restarting itself. So after restart, this server is a domain controller.